You're watching the Videobob Show.
Come on!
Hi, I'm Gene Simmons. You're not. And you're watching, what else? Videobob. Get out.
I'm Alice Cooper, and I'm watching Videobob.
Hey everybody, this is Rob Alford, the metal god from Judas Priest, and you are watching Videobob. Oh yeah!
Hey, this is Michael Anthony, and you're watching the Videobob Show. Watch it.
Hi, you're watching Video Bob because you'd like me to. This is Rick Nielsen from Chief Rick.
Got Don back Daryl hanging out with Video Bob. Number one, watch it go. Video.
And I'm here with Bobby. Never stop, never surrender.
Hello, this is Weird Al Yankovic, and you're watching Video Bob. Aren't you?
Hi, I'm Hippie James, and you're watching the Videobob Show.
Bob, you're an idiot.
I forgot to turn on my camera. Here I am. Is the microphone on? Is this thing on? Hello. Hello. Oh my God. It's 3:30 almost. I got up fairly early. Had a bowl of Lucky Charms. And then went in there and Honey Bunny was still in bed. I go, "What are you going to sleep all day?" She goes, "Yeah." And I go, "Yeah, that actually sounds like a great idea." And I crawled back into bed about 11. And I slept till like 2:30. That's Chinese dentist time, by the way. 2:30. That's Eric's favorite joke. He loves it. Is it the longest day of the year? Is that a fact? Are we in summer? Is that a true thing? So what did I do? I got up and I had some Jello, some sugar-free Jello, and a Diet Mr. Pibb. I'm having to make some kind of dietary changes. For years now, I don't know how many years, but for several years now, every single day when I wake up, the first thing I would do is do a 5-hour energy shot. Grape is my favorite. So I'd crawl out of bed, stumble into the kitchen, crack open one of those, and I would drink a 5-hour energy. Today I did not. I am no longer going to be taking the 5-hour energies, unfortunately. As I've talked about on my regular video daily blog, I've been having high blood pressure issues. My doctor has me on several high blood pressure medications. I'm going to see the doctor again tomorrow. And I was looking at some of the things that I eat and drink, and they were saying that, 5-hour energy and energy drinks in particular drastically raise your blood pressure. So I'm going to stop taking them, stop drinking them. And it sucks because I have like a couple of cases of it. I would, I think maybe I could take it back to the store because a couple $100 worth of this shit. But man, I love them. I don't drink coffee. And I do drink tea from time to time. So I've been looking at the things that I drink that are full of sodium and caffeine. I'm assuming there's caffeine in this Mr. Pibb, but god damn it, I gotta have some caffeine. And then salt. I don't put a lot of salt on my food, but I do eat salty foods. And I do drink a lot of this Gatorade Zero. I'd say I drink 2 or 3 of these a day. But it says it's only got 270 milligrams of sodium, and it's not that much. So, I don't know. I like caffeine. I do have high sugar issues. So, as I'm getting older, I'll be 52 here in a few months. I have to start thinking a little bit more about my health. And, I've been type 2 diabetic and under hypertension for the last 20 years. And if not for the medication I take, I'm sure I'd be dead by now. Somebody mentioned Adam the Woo. You know, I don't know what medication he was taking, if any, and that might have been the problem. You know, could be he needed to be on some of the same medications I'm on, statins, you know, high blood pressure, things like that. And when you're not on them, it's not uncommon to die at my age. I think about all the people who did die young, that were overweight, people that I admired, like John Candy, died in his 40s. Elvis, you know. Of course, he was overloading on, he really died of a drug overdose of mixing various downers and codeines and things. But the thing about it is that the food that we eat is so highly processed and just so bad for us. And so I do got to think about that a little bit more. I probably shouldn't have had Lucky Charms for breakfast. In fairness, I haven't had Lucky Charms in many years. I bought the Lucky Charms because I was at Smith's and they had I think it was like buy two, get three free or something. And I normally get the Honey Nut Cheerios. And I was like, fuck it, let me get a box of the Lucky Charms, toss that in the mix. Just, you know, on a Sunday. What the hell? Let's see. You should drink 16 ounces of cold water in the morning. That's not a bad idea. It says poor people only able to afford processed food. You know, I haven't done a Bob Eats Vegas in a while. I have multiple channels, and one of my channels is Bob Eats Vegas, and it was intended to be a food review channel for Vegas locals only. I mean, it's great if other people watch it, but it wouldn't do you any good to watch it. The whole idea was to turn you on to restaurants that were in the local Vegas area. And I just haven't been going out to eat as much. And so I subscribed to a couple of different Facebook pages, and one of them was called like Las Vegas Foodies. And somebody recently did a kind of like a mention review about this local titty bar called Minx. And it's not that far from me. And they do a $10 steak. And they said, look, the girls aren't that hot, but the $10 steak was fantastic. And even with all the add-ons, even if you get it up to $20, it was still a great deal. Talk about a small steak and a broccoli and the potato, right? And they're like, it's not bad. It's actually pretty good. And they open at 5. And I'm thinking, I might go over there. I don't know what kind of video I could make, but I was like, this is a perfect Bob Eats Vegas moment. The thing is that it puts me in a bit of a quandary, because sometimes I find a gem, you know, a honey hole, as we used to call it, and you don't want to dox it. You want to gatekeep it. Like, there's a couple of places that we go to lunch and stuff that I haven't done videos on. And I don't feel like I'm doing them a disservice, because they seem to have plenty of business. But I don't want people coming and finding me there. I don't want to be bothered there. And I don't want to ruin it. So I'm totally gatekeeping those couple of places. I admit it. How are the kittens? I haven't seen the cat or the kittens. Mama Kitty and the kittens, she's taking them somewhere else, and I don't know where. I haven't seen her for a couple of days, so I don't know where they are. Hippie is up in Alaska visiting his brother. Haven't seen him for a while. People asking me questions. Says, your review of Re-Raw helped me decide to eat there during SEMA. Re-Raw is okay if you're staying at Mandalay Bay or Luxor and you're there. But I wouldn't go there otherwise. You know, it's okay. This guy's talking about the fact that I'm broadcasting on 2 channels at one time. Skips. Because I have the Videobob Show channel that I started a couple of years ago because I wanted to separate my live videos from my regular videos. And I've been thinking about it, and I'm like, why was I doing that? Well, I know why I was doing it. I was doing it because I was trying to live a double life. Because the things that I was talking about, ever since 2016, when Donald Trump came down the escalator, our world has changed. And it's changed not for the better. For 10 years now, we have been a very divided nation. All sorts of things have happened in that 10 years. The arrest and death of George Floyd, which sparked the Black Lives Matter riots. We saw the rise of Antifa and other similar organizations. And then the response to that, you saw Proud Boys or whatever they're called. I don't know. So you started seeing all these racially motivated events happening. Then Donald Trump wins the presidency. And then that 4 years seemed quite mild as compared to the 4 years after that he didn't win. And then the 4 years that's happening now that he wins again. Right? We've seen prices go crazy. We've seen immigration go crazy. We've seen, the exploitation of deportations. We've seen assassination attempts. We've seen just fucking pandemonium. And it's not good. It's not a good thing, And so when I was doing the Videobob Show as a separate show, I was talking about a lot of these politics and a lot of these things going on in the world. And I thought, well, I also saw that what was happening at that time, if you remember, right? The Facebooks, the YouTubes, the all the social medias were being heavily policed. I mean, has anybody been in Facebook jail since Trump took over? I don't think so. I used to be in Facebook jail constantly. The 3-day, 5-day, 30-day bans. I haven't had a single one since he took over. So obviously some things have changed on Facebook. But we were definitely being silenced, as Skip says. I remember, there's a friend of mine here in Vegas who was forced by his job to take the vaccine. And he was one of the people who had a bad reaction to it. And he got a blood clot in his foot. And long story short, they had to amputate his leg below the knee. And he wasn't allowed to talk about it. Lawyers came into his hospital room and told him that he would be sued or some shit because he was posting all over Facebook about it. He's not allowed to talk about it. It was slander to claim that the JJ shot did this to him. That there was no proof. He was perfectly fine, and then this is what happened. I have another person that I know that comes over to another party who lost half of his foot due to the blood clot after getting the shot. So these things were happening. And you weren't allowed to talk about them. There was a lot of things you just weren't allowed to talk about. Or else you got censored. You got put into Facebook jail. You got silenced. I reposted that guy's post, and I got put into Facebook jail for reposting it. So there was some shenanigans going on, during all of the COVID bullshit. Don't forget, we lived through all that. It wasn't that long ago, and it's hard to believe when you look back on it now. Every once in a while, I'm walking around, and I see some clown wearing the mask, and I just go, oh. Just remember when we had to do the masks and all the Las Vegas still hasn't recovered. We've lost all of the buffets. We've lost most of the 24-hour restaurants. Like all of these things that were standard, they changed during COVID and they never came back. And the weird thing is like we have adults now that are now over 21, but during the time of COVID in 2019, 2020, right? So in 2020, 6 years ago, if you were 15 or 16 or you were sub-adult, you were not an adult yet, you were not living on your own, you were not making your own living, you were not out in the world, you were still a child playing video games when you were living during COVID. And now you're an adult. And these people don't understand what the real world was like. They don't understand that we used to have 24-hour Walmarts and 24-hour restaurants, and we had, like, we just lived in a whole different world. It was like, it wasn't just those things. It was just so many things that we could talk about. You know, we could go down the list and do this for hours, but the point is that the world changed in the last 10 years tremendously. And we're now living in a completely different world. And by the way, a completely different demographic internationally. In every city and state and country, the demographics have changed due to migration and immigration. And you can't ignore this. I mean, you can ignore it, I guess, which a lot of people do, because most people live in their own little bubbles. But when you see what's happening in, like, Ireland and Belfast, and there was a Scottish man that just went on a rampage and he went stabbing Muslim people, you know, like, I mean, the things that are happening in our world, I mean, have kind of always been happening, but they're happening in a way different way now. And when you watch TV and movies from 20 years ago, 30 years ago, you'll notice something about those movies. And that thing is a dominance of white people. I mean, it's just I've had this conversation with my non-white friends. I have some Mexican guys that work for me, and we were all just kind of laughing and joking yesterday, talking about this very thing. I said, yeah, but you got to understand. We were talking about the history of Las Vegas and why it's here. I said, well, the reason Las Vegas is here is because this was a water point for the trains that traveled between Salt Lake City and L.A. Mormons built this town. This was a Mormon settlement mostly. The people who lived here, the man that built my home was a single Mormon man who was actually a Swedish immigrant who moved from Sweden to come to this Mormon community here in Las Vegas. And up until, only a few years ago, this was a 80% or more white town. Right? Up until about 10 years ago. And that's the way most of America was. Like, turn on an old episode of Cops, right? Like from the 80s, and look at who the cops are and look at who they're arresting. You go, wow, that's a white cop arresting a white guy on a bicycle. Wow. And so when you go through a very quick demographic change in only a few years, and you see the world change, what happens is you get a lot of disagreement, turmoil, a lot of racism, which I don't like the word racism. I think it's a bullshit word that's kind of made up. There really is no such thing as racism. And I know there's people who are going to be like, oh, yeah, no, people discriminate. I go, look, what you got is every single person there is only wants to be with their own kind of people and doesn't like it when other people are around. It's like a kind of a ubiquitous thing. It's a made up word that only applies to white people unfairly, in my opinion. You're going to try to tell me that all the other people in the world don't have opinions about other people in the world? You know what I mean? That's why I think it's a bullshit term. You know, it doesn't matter who you are or where you're from or what color you are or what your religion is. Everybody wants to be in their own, with their own people. Why else would they build churches? You know, so, if a bunch of Muslim people come and they want to build a mosque, they must obviously be racist because they only want to hang out with each other and only practice each other's religion, and they don't want these other people around. Oh, okay. That's everybody. That's everybody. So these bullshit terms like racism, they don't mean anything. It's a pointless thing, in my opinion. And there's a definite difference in our cultures, and they're clashing. And, well, let's talk about the kittens, right? I found these kittens in the backyard, and I'm doing everything I can to try to help the kittens. Now, that inherently is a very Christian trait. Now, there's plenty of other religions out there, or cultures, I should say, that would want to help the kittens. But let me remind you that there's other cultures out there that would have eaten the kittens, would have killed the kittens. And you're thinking, Bob, what are you talking about? Oh, yeah. Not every culture is the same. And the thing that I came to terms with, more recently, was that there's no separation in the Western European person and Christianity. See, you don't have to be a saved Christian or a practicing Christian or a church-going Christian or a Christian at all. But what I'm trying to say is what makes the culture of the Western European white person, be it Canada or America or Australia or Germany or Spain or Italy or the UK or even Russia. What makes all of those the same is that bond and the ideals and how you live your life that is based in Christianity. Mike wants me to know with $5. So fuel pump relay died yesterday, and a black and Mexican stopped and helped me get the G30 box truck out of the road. And I went, okay. All right. So what I'm saying is that different cultures believe in different things and different, how do I explain this? The Ten Commandments and the tenets of Christianity aren't ubiquitous with every other culture. Not every culture believes in not murdering. Not every culture believes in not, marrying within your family. Not every culture believes in not having sexual relations with a person under 18. Not every culture does the same thing. Do you understand? There's plenty of cultures out there that exist on our planet today that would have found those kittens and sucked the brains out of their heads and had them for dinner. Or would have just drowned them or whatever. And would have been perfectly normal to them. So what I'm saying is that there are people that come from these other countries and cultures into our world, into our country, and they don't think and believe the same way we do. So the people that are in Ireland right now that are dealing with people that are completely different and opposite. I mean, think about how picky the Irish are. That for 200 years, they have been at war with each other, fighting over the Catholics and the Protestants over some minor, very minor disagreements on how Catholicism and Christianity are to be interpreted, and they have been at war with for 200 years. So you can imagine how infuriating it must be for these people to have to deal with somebody who's coming in with a completely opposite point of view in religion, because it's not just religion. I'm not a scholar in these other Muslims' faiths, but what has been clearly demonstrated is that in some of those cultures, it's perfectly okay to do what you will with a young girl that's not of your culture. I'm trying to say that the nicest way that I can. And then it's perfectly okay to lie, cheat, or steal, or whatever it is, to somebody who you believe is a non-believer, and they deserve it. It's perfectly okay to treat women a certain way, or because that's what their tradition tells them to do. And I don't think these things can be intermingled. So there's that part of the argument. And I have another part of the argument that there's no way of talking about without it sounding really bad to certain people who have been taught for the last couple of decades how wrong this thinking is. But I find it to be fact. I don't think anybody could deny this. And these are the things that I'm like, should I talk about these things, or should I just keep them to myself? What's the benefit of these discussions? How is it going to help me? I'm really only preaching to the choir. I think the people that tune into my show are people that agree with me anyway. But I think that if there's to be any positive outcome out of any of the statements, it would be through activism and action. But I was thinking about something the other day, and it pains me to discuss this. So I know I'm dancing around the edge. When you think about all of the minorities that exist in our country, really the world, but let's just stick to our country, right? No matter what the group is, whether it's women, members of the LGBTQ community, and non-whites, American Indigenous Indians, no matter what group it is, not a single one of these groups won their rights or earned them. And what do I mean by that? Like, for instance, black people did not win their freedom of slavery through force or war or voting. It was simply given to them by the majority of white people. White people went to war with other white people to fight a war over giving these people their freedom. The American Indian did not win a war against the white American and then take the land they live on. No, they were given the land they live on and told, this is where you're going to be, and this is how it's going to be. Women didn't win the right to vote. They were given this by men. Like, women didn't win women's rights. What happened over and over and over in every situation is that these white Christian men relented and said, all right, we'll give you freedom. Just leave us alone. Okay? All right. You can have what you want. And in every situation, that's been the case. Even in wars of white countries against white countries. Right? England could not defeat America. Germany could not defeat all the other Western countries. White people cannot defeat each other. They can't. They can only outnumber each other. But think about this. There's not a single non-European or non-First World or non-Western country that could defeat us. The entire continent of Africa. The tiny little country of Israel. If Israel and like Italy got into a war, Italy would just destroy Israel. They would just disappear off the planet. Every single Western white country could just destroy any other country except for ourselves. It would be mutually assured destruction, as they say. But I'm just saying, like, there's not a single country in the entire continent of Africa that could overtake a single white country. Not a single Asian one. As big as China is, they have no chance. Doesn't matter how many people they have, because if they could, they would have. But they never have. Never have. Never will. And so what I'm saying is when you start to think about that, and then you see what's happening in the UK and Ireland and Scotland and these places, I just go, guys, if you were to just simply get off your ass and organize just a wee little bit, you could cleanse your country in a matter of hours. I'm just saying. They would have no chance. Zero. You're unfucking defeatable. And that's what the people in Belfast, these Irish guys, have started to figure out. They've started to get together and go to the streets. And they're using Gestapo tactics. I mean, they're just going to people and burning out their homes, and people that are, helping they're just, is this the hotel they're staying at? We'll just burn this down. Unless you're going to make them leave. They're like, you people are going to leave. And if you don't leave, we're just going to kill you. This is what they did in Nazi Germany. The Nazis started off real nice, asking people to leave. And then they asked a little harder. And then they asked a little harder. The people that didn't leave, then they just started killing them in the streets. That's what happened. Basically. And we're seeing that again 100 years later. Not quite 100 years later, but you get the point. And it's really it's unfair and sad for these people. The actual immigrants themselves haven't done anything wrong. Who betrayed the people of the country were their own governments. See? And how many times have we seen the people of a country go into the capital or the palace of that country, pull its leader out, and kill them in the streets? Mussolini. So, but the reason that all of this has happened all along is the point that I was really trying to get to wasn't one of like white supremacy. That's not what I'm trying to say. What I'm really trying to say is that what it means to be a white Christian male is to have empathy and compassion, and to constantly fight the duality of the power that you can wield, and at the same time giving that up. Because what I'm saying is, the same people that have the power to literally take over the world and become an Adolf Hitler are the same people that have the power, I shouldn't say power, have the ability to find within themselves empathy and compassion. And empathy and compassion is the downfall of Western civilization. Our empathy and compassion allows people to come in by the millions, allows other culture to come in, allows, allows what's happening to be happening. And what have we done? We've allowed our media to become our biggest enemy. Our biggest enemy is our media. Because our media, in every single instance, whether it's a cartoon, a commercial, a movie, a TV show, a sitcom, no matter what it is, it doesn't matter what it is, every single one of these shows is giving you the hidden message that you should not be having any children, that you should be having abortions, that you should be having homosexual relationships, that you should be having interracial relationships, and you shouldn't be having any children, and you shouldn't be practicing Christianity, and you shouldn't be going to church, and you shouldn't be having a family. That's basically what if you just turn on my eyes for a minute, and next time you watch literally anything, it doesn't matter what show it is, what commercial it is, what movie it is, just look around and go, okay, lesbian, gay, trans, interracial, gay relationship, making fun of God, making fun of country, this is racist, this is racist, this is racist. And you realize that every single thing that's sold to you, like even if you just walk through Costco and you see a product for sale, right? That product is going to be a menagerie of multiracial demographic. There's not a single thing. I was at Burger King the other day, and the menu, there's a Chinese guy holding a hamburger, there's a black chick, she's eating French fries. They're all together, like they have to represent everybody, right? Now, some of you would look at this and go, no, they're just representing all of they want to let everybody know that everybody's welcome. Okay. All right. That's the problem. Is everybody welcome? That's what the fuck happened to our country. We made everybody welcome. This was a Western, Christian, white country of 85%, 90%, of the same people. But everybody's welcome. Come on in. Chinese guy, have a fucking hamburger. Oh, Mexican chick, come on in. Have a thing. Let's put them all on the menu. Let's put them all on everybody gets their own cartoon. Everybody's welcome. Everybody's welcome. Come on. And what the fuck happened to the country? Did it make it better? Are things better? Are things better now than they were 20 years ago? Anybody that's old enough to be old as me, can you sit there and go, oh yeah, it's better now? What's better if you're a black trans man? Yes, it's better for you. If you're a Guatemalan gay couple, it's great for you. Yeah. But is it better for the people who had this country before? No. Right? When people say, when the old fucking boomers get together and we go, remember when you could go in the store and nothing was locked up behind glass? Remember when you drove down the street and you didn't see any graffiti on the walls? Right? Remember when you sat down at a restaurant and the ketchup and the mustard and the syrup and the salt and the pepper and everything was just there on the table? You didn't have to ask for it. And they'd give you actual metal silverware at a fast food place. Remember when you didn't need a key to the bathroom or a code? Remember when you could just stop at a park and there was a park with a drinking fountain and a bench and there could be kids playing. There was no needles. Right? And every time I have this argument with one of my very liberal friends, so my liberal friend says, yeah, but what, I see these white guys out there that are on drugs, these white homeless guys, they're obviously meth heads. And I go, that's true. Where do they get the drugs? Who sold them the drugs? Who brought the drugs in that the guy sold them to? So the guy, Tyrone that's selling the drugs, where did he get them? Right? Oh, so Alejandro, whatever, brings the drugs in from Mexico. Where did the Mexicans get the drugs, the fentanyls? Oh, they bought them from China. So they ship the drugs from China into Mexico. They manufacture, they distribute them, they bring them into the United States. They get, underprivileged young black guys to go sell the drugs, right? Some white guy that's working a job, he's working overtime because he's now having to compete with 40 million immigrants trying to steal his job. So he's busting his ass. He's not making the same amount of money he used to. Now he starts taking a little meth to keep up with it. Then he becomes a junkie. Now he's homeless and living on the street in a refrigerator box. People don't think about how did this come to be? How do we have meth heads? Why? Why is a truck driver doing meth? Well, probably because there's like 3 Indian Sikhs that are working for half the money, and he has to drive twice as many miles now. So instead of driving 8 hours a day, he has to try to lie on his logs and drive 15 hours a day. That's why he's doing meth. Nobody wants to look at the cause of the effect. And when you try to make this argument to one of these other people that all they can do is defend the wrongs of others, they just can't see it. Well, the reason there's so much black crime is because they're suppressed and they're put in this position. Well, maybe that's true. Maybe that's the case. What do we do about it? Should we police the crime, or should we just eliminate the consequence for the crime? So rather than arresting people that are stealing from the stores, we just lock everything up. That doesn't make sense, does it? Why don't we arrest the people when they're caught stealing? So what's happened is, rather than arresting people, it used to be you ran out the store, the security guards beat the shit out of you in the parking lot, and then you went to jail. Now, they just stand there and let you do it. So if they're just going to let you steal, we'll just lock everything up. So now I go to the fucking Walmart. I got to stand there. I got to have a personal shopper follow me around with their electronic key. I need some beard dye, please. It's behind the glass. They got to unlock that. I need some lotion, please. That's behind the glass. I'd like some of the teeth whitening paste, please. It's $17 a tube. That's behind the fucking glass. Thanks. I don't live in a poor neighborhood. This is a fucking $1 million house. I live in like Henderson, Nevada, in Las Vegas. A retirement community, basically, is what it was. That's what this was. Las Vegas was this retirement community with golf courses where rich people would come to live and retire. The houses were expensive. The reason I never lived here before was because I couldn't afford it. I lived in shitty-ass Dallas because I couldn't afford to move to Las Vegas until 2020 happened. Well, then the prices went up. But like I said, the average house in this neighborhood is going to be at least $500,000 for even the shitty houses. The cheapest thing you could possibly find would be $300,000. Those apartments that are next to me, those are condos. Those apartments are $200,000 a piece. And yet, I go to the store by my house and shit's locked up. So these people that live in LA, they're living in a $3 million house. They go to Ralph's, shit's locked up. Yeah, a shitty house here is $350,000. You got to think the house that I bought 2010, in Oak Cliff, Dallas was $100,000. I sold it for $350. I don't know what this person is double posting. I don't know what you're saying. Yeah, I mean, this is true. I don't care if people call it racist or whatever, but they don't lock up the sunscreen. By the way, this is funny. You know, the beard dye and the hair dye. They only lock up the black. The blonde and brown, not locked up. You know, the expensive lotion, locked up. Am I going to tour with Mini Kiss? No, I don't think so. So, you know, it's funny that they do Father's Day the same weekend they're doing Juneteenth. You know, Juneteenth, I'm from Texas. Juneteenth was basically an acknowledgement in Galveston, Texas. You got to think they didn't have the internet and they didn't have ways of communication back then. So what had happened is it took a really long time for the message to get to the port of Galveston, Texas, to let the slaves know that they were free. It was like a year later. And they don't know exactly what day it is. I think they picked June 19th, but the concept is that this is when they found out they were free. This was not a national holiday, and nobody outside of southern Texas knew anything about this. But it started to slowly spread, you know, because you would have, I remember in Fort Worth, Texas, 25, 30 years ago, you would see the Juneteenth festival in the black neighborhood, and they'd have like a little picnic, something like that. And now all of a sudden they're trying to make it into like a national holiday. You know what I mean? It's just this race baiting shit that everybody's just sick of. I mean, it's not I mean, everything's a made up holiday, but what are you going to do? Make a holiday out of every single point that they were told they were free? That's just when they were told. I mean, the Comanche Indians kept their slaves for more than a year or two after that, before they were forced to let them go. Nobody talks about that. People who live in Texas and are from Texas know about it, but now people are talking, what does it got to do with Nevada? Why are they having a Juneteenth festival in Nevada? You know? So, like I said, somebody asked me the other day about on my channel, they said, you know, why don't you have more viewers, Bob? Like, I've been doing daily blogs now all year long, and I've been on this platform since 2007, and I have 173,000 subscribers, which is commendable, but I actually lose subscribers daily. Now, my views are up. I'm making more money than I ever have because I have a dedicated audience of you guys. Thank you. But my daily videos have turned off a lot of people. I don't have the same... Like, I'm not saying that Adam was a phony. Adam was a fantastic, special individual with traits that I don't have. But there are people out there that are more likable than me. There are people who just instantly don't like me. And I just don't win them over. And the thing is that I don't care. I probably don't like them either. Because those are the same people who are selling out my country and selling out their entire culture. And they're the reason that the country's gone to shit. I blame them. And they recognize immediately who and what I'm about, how I think. And that's fine. I'm in a position that's known as fuck you. Like, I don't work for anybody. I can't be canceled. You can't get me fired. You know, other than coming to me and physically harming me, there's nothing you can do to me. There's no name you can call me. There's no, like it. I mean, yeah, I might delete and block you or something. But to me, that's like swatting a fly. It's like, you know, there are people that are the flies at the picnic of life, you know. And it drives them crazy that they can't, you know, like there's people who just live on this earth to troll. And this is one of the things that I've talked about, like, there's true evil in this world. I mean, there's people who, the people that key cars, that graffiti walls, that spit on your burger, that just do horrible things. You gotta think, like, every single day, many, many people off themselves. And many, many people off other people as well. And many, many people will go out and, I'm trying to use my words carefully, but the prisons are full of people that do evil things to others and to themselves. And the thing about it is they're voters. Some of them work for you. Some of them, they have jobs or they run businesses. They're out on the streets walking around you, right? Whether they be hackers, whether they be the person who's stealing a Snickers bar out of the 7-Eleven, or not leaving a tip, or leaving their cart in the middle of the, you know, parking lot. I mean, I've just noticed, I've recognized small patterns, you know, people that are mean to animals, but like the shopping cart thing is just one of those litmus tests where you say, like, the person that leaves their shopping cart in the middle of the fucking parking lot, that just tells you, that's just like a tiny little marker that you can jump to conclusions and say, well, the person who does that is somebody who doesn't give a fuck about anybody else. They don't care that the wind is going to blow the cart into somebody's car. They're hoping that happens because they probably drive a shitty car and they're mad that other people have nice cars. Jealousy is really the biggest problem. See, like, my biggest problem in this world is jealousy against me. Because I'm someone who, I don't drink and I don't smoke and I don't do drugs, and I've lived a very, you know, a life where I you know, I'm not going to jail. I don't harm anybody. I might piss other people off via my existence and opinions, but I don't do anything that hurts anyone else. And that is one of the traits of what I was talking about, of what it is to be a, you know, a European Christian person. Even if you're not a practicing Christian, you don't have to be a saved person who believes in Jesus to practice these things. Being courteous and empathetic. Let me ask you a question. Like, for instance, if you are walking across the parking lot to the store and there's a car coming, do you speed up your pace? Do you walk faster when you realize you are in someone else's way? I do. That's a trait of my culture. There are other cultures, though. Not only will they not speed up, they'll slow down and look at you like, fuck you, cracker. And that'll tell you just about everything you need to know about that person through that one action. That's what the shopping cart test. The speeding up your pace when someone else is around. Saying, excuse me. When someone's coming at you, do you move out of the fucking way? Or do you stand in their way? If you go to Costco and you got your hot dog and you're putting mustard on it and it spills on the thing, Do you wipe it up or do you just leave it there? If you're in the bathroom and you've washed your hands, and you try to be a smart ass and you throw your used napkin and it doesn't go in the trash can, it falls on the floor. Do you go over there and pick it up and put it in the trash can, or do you just leave it there? If you're pushing your cart through the store and your cart knocks something off the shelf, do you go put it back on the shelf, or do you just leave it there? These are, when people say you got no culture, man, you know, why people have no culture? Like, what are you talking about? We have a culture. We have a culture. This is why I fuck with people with the flip-flops and the shorts. I'm just like, come on, man. Represent. You're part of the greatest people that ever lived. And I find no glory in emulating the bad behavior of the people that are making fun of us. The people who go to Walmart in their flip-flops and their pajamas with a bag on their head are making fun of our culture. They're shitting on it. They're shitting on it. They're shitting on us. When they make fun of our language by murdering it when they try to talk, they're making fun of us. They're shitting on us. I don't use ebonics and slang like that because I appreciate the greatness of my culture, the language that we cultivated over thousands of years. We made this dictionary. We made these rules of grammar. I know the difference between there, and there, and we're, and, you know, I mean, two and two, and two. There's two, and two. Do you know the difference between two, and two? I'm going to the store to pick up 2 coconuts. And so that's what I'm saying. It's like I have a respect for these things, and it's like my responsibility to practice these traditions. That's why I want to ask you a question. And people don't understand the difference between, you know, like, it's not about the flip-flops and the shorts. There's some flip-flops right behind me. Those are my Van Halen flip-flops that I will use to go out to my pool. But you'll never see me wearing them in public. So it's like, and listen, there's a lot of rules that even I don't follow completely. But I would love to live in a society where we respected all of those rules like we once did. Where you had morning clothes, afternoon clothes, evening clothes, dinner jackets. I mean, a man would have 3 different sets of gloves for the day. I love it. I would love it. If it was more enforced and we did, I would love it. You know? What I'm saying is, living here in Vegas, when I go to Peter Luger's, which is like a 4-star, 5-star restaurant, and there's a dude in there wearing khaki shorts with slides, and I go, what the fuck are you doing? They should not let you in. But what's happened is that the ACLU and these human rights organizations, right? I'll give you an example. There's a great Italian place here called Piero's, high-end Italian place. And they had a sign there that says dress code strictly enforced. And I said, ooh, I like that. And they go, well, we don't do that anymore. I'm like, why? And he goes, well, how can we tell a man that he has to be wearing a jacket and slacks and dress shoes if a man comes in wearing a dress? We can't deny him service. We have to let him in, or he'll fucking sue us. See? Guess who the lawyers are? So, and then they'll also say that those rules were racist. Well, in a way, yes. The idea was to isolate yourself around the people that you want to be with by using price and rules. This is how an HOA works. People move to an HOA. Of course, there's rules that say you have to rent or sell to everyone. But by creating a set of rules that everybody has to adhere to, you can kind of, at the very least, isolate. Like, you're not going to have loud parties, people parking the car up on the lawn, having backyard barbecues. You know what I'm saying? Because they'll get fined and they'll get their houses taken away or whatever. And so this is how people have chose to continue redlining. This is how they've redefined white flight, is through the use of these HOAs. Because they know that through high prices, you can, like for instance, Five Guys. When you go to Five Guys restaurant, if you don't know Five Guys, it's a burger restaurant. And they have free peanuts. When you walk in, they have boxes and boxes of peanuts. And you could just go over there and help yourself. And there's nothing to stop you from stealing as many peanuts as you want. Sometimes I see people do that. Certain people. And all the condiments are out and the drinks are out. There's nothing to stop you from going over there and stealing a drink. There's nothing to stop you from stealing all the ketchup. But the burgers are like $20. It's expensive. So the only people who go there are the people who can afford to eat. They also play classic rock on the radio. Whenever I've been in a Five Guys, they play classic rock. No hip hop, no modern pop music, classic rock. And they do that for a reason, because they know that the 40, 50-year-old guys like me that are going in there, I have no problem paying $20 for this fucking hot dog, because at least I get to eat it in a place where I know that I won't encounter the same people I'm going to meet at a McDonald's. What is Kevin saying? You're talking about Western Sizzlin'. That's who started that. Western Sizzler, they would cut off your tie. Or that was their ad anyway. Oh, it's true though. Like when you're in Vegas, what happens is you got people that are at the casino, and it's like, you'll see they put up signs that says like no swimwear in the casino, but because they had to put up this sign, because where the fuck was their father to smack him in the back of the head? Go, boy, go change your clothes. Like, yeah, you go down, you're supposed to change, you're supposed to you take your swim clothes to the pool, you change, you get in the pool, you take a shower, you put your clothes back on in the cabana, you go back to your room. You're not supposed to walk through the casino in your flip-flops. But there's a certain element of people who do this, and then they're going to go, I see white people do this all the time. Of course you're seeing white people do that all the time, because they like to emulate the behavior of others. They go, well, they're doing it, I want to do it. And this is where, talking about Father's Day, this is where you need your dad to hit you in the back of the head. You need to get hit in the back of the head once in a while by your dad. So, I'm trying to, some of the comments I look at here, I go, what are you talking about? So, I don't know if there's a way to save our culture. I think that what they're doing in Ireland, you know, because a lot of times people say, like, violence is not the answer. Violence is 100% the answer. It always has been. Violence was the answer when we won this country 250 years ago in 1776. Violence was the answer in 1865. Violence was the answer in 1943. Violence is always the answer. It works really well. It works really well. So what I'm saying is the people of Belfast, the people of Scotland, the people of UK, and the people of America, if all of the Western Europeans just do what they do, conquer and divide, just do what you do, and you can clean up the whole place in a short amount of time. We could do it in one fucking day. Right? There's nothing more dangerous on the planet Earth than a scared white man. It's like cornering a honey badger. Nothing more dangerous. You just have to get to that tipping point where that empathy and fear of being called a racist bigot is put away long enough to kick some ass. So, uh, 2460 says, it's time for people to stay in their damn lanes, if you know what I mean. Stop freaking wanna be what you're not. I'm not sure what that means. This is nationalist, not a racist. Not sure what that means exactly, but the thing is all of these terms mean nothing to me. Racist and biggest and white supremacist and nationalist and all this other shit. I just go, listen, I don't know. You can come up with whatever title you want. The bottom line is that what I've said before is every culture deserves to own their own identity. And England's for the English, Scotland's for the Scottish. And the argument that I've made a gazillion times is whenever I start to make this argument, people go, but Bob, America's a melting pot. I go, no, it isn't. That's what you're trying to make it into. Yes, it is. We're a nation of immigrants. No, it isn't. Never was. Oh, yeah, the Statue of Liberty. What, you mean that gift we got from France that sat in a warehouse for 30 years that they had to raise money to erect and put up, in the early 1900s, that fucking thing? That has nothing to do with the founding of our country. Oh, but the people who moved here were immigrants. No, they weren't. The people who founded our country were born here. And so were their fathers. Only 8 of the founding fathers were not actually born in the United States, but they were born imperially in England, Ireland, and Scotland. But when they formed the country 250 years ago in 1776, almost all of those people were American-born citizens, multi-generational. Because don't forget, for 280 years, they had been migrating here and building this country out of nothing. And then people say, well, but you stole the land. Yep. You just ask somebody, okay, do you believe in birthright citizenship? They go, well, yes. Well, then you don't believe in stolen land. They were born here, they own the land. Can't have it both ways. You don't get both. Right? So if you believe in birthright citizenship, then you can't tell me I stole the land. Doesn't math, does it? So the thing about it is the American-born people that were the founding fathers made a racist, if that's what you want to call it, sexist, if that's what you want to call it, government, where non-white, non-landowners were not allowed to vote, and as well as women were not allowed to vote. So you had to be a white landowning person to vote to be part of our country and our democracy. That's how they designed it originally. Women weren't included. Black people at the time were considered property and chattel. So therefore, this country was built on white racism, patriarchy. Right? That's just the fact of the matter is. I'm not saying that this is right. I'm just telling you that this is fact. Because clearly, we as Americans decided that we should allow people of all races to have the same rights and privileges. And we also decided that women should have the same rights and privileges. These are the things that we changed over the last 250 years. I'm just saying that what this country was founded on 250 years ago, that's what it was. So I only bring that up so that when people say that we are a nation of immigrants, that we're a melting pot, that's not true. That's what you're trying to make it, but that's not what the country was founded on. That's all I'm saying. There's nothing to disagree with. This is just the way it is. So, because a lot of people just misunderstand what I'm saying. They try to put me into this box and call me a white supremacist, and they call me all these things. I go, look, facts are facts. I'm sorry you don't like the facts. Right? Viking, why are you saying actor? What does that mean? I don't understand what that means. This guy says you play Gene Simmons. I don't play bass. I don't know what that's supposed to mean. I'm not part American Indian. I never claimed to be. I said that I lived on an Indian reservation. I've never claimed to be an American Indian. So my mother married an American Indian who was a Sioux, Ogallala Sioux. He adopted me and my brothers, and we were put on the tribal rolls, and we lived on the Rosebud, Pine Ridge, and Wounded Knee Indian reservations with the Sioux. I'm almost entirely Scottish and English heritage. And when I lived there, I was a very white little boy. So. I don't know. Are you watching from Videobob Show or from the Videobob Mosley channel? And I don't know how, let me see, can I? See, when I click on your name, the choices it gives me is delete, timeout, and ban. So I don't know how to make you, I would have to go into, let me see if I can go into the live of this channel. Which, let me see, give me a second. I think I have to do it from there. Let me see. Videobob Mosley. Add as moderator. There we go. Who else is watching on this channel? Let me scroll back up. Let me see. I'm trying to see who my other people are. Where's Kevin? And go find him. Or make a comment, Kevin. Let me see here. We're going to click on live. And then, let's see, Irish Gypsy or Irish Gyp 71. I got that one. I thought I saw Kevin on here. Where's Kevin Bennett? I'll make him a moderator. I don't think he's watching on this channel. That's what it is. He's watching on the other channel. I'm on broadcasting on 2 channels at the same time. So, all right, there you go. Let me go back to StreamYard. Okay, So now you should have moderator privileges. I have stereo channel. Yeah, I'm broadcasting on both channels. Why not? Let's see. What is the... I'm trying to look at what some of y'all are bickering about. I don't pay attention. The AZCon or whatever wants to be a moderator. That's not going to happen. You've been making dumb comments, I think. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people that are trolls. You know, here's the thing. Like, and I hate that I have to even say this. But just because I'm talking about the things I'm talking about in no way means that I hate other people, that I'm against other people, right? I understand that everyone has a culture and has a past or a history, I should say, has a way of doing things, and that's who they are. And that doesn't always make it a bad thing, right? So it's like, I enjoy a lot of different multicultural things living here in Vegas. But what is this? I'm trying to figure out what these other people are saying. Like, this person says, I know your kids and your chick. I don't have any kids. I don't know who this person is. You're just annoying me. Fuck off. I'm just deleting them. They're a fly at my picnic. So the thing is when I see, for instance, an American Indian person talking about their culture and they want to preserve their culture, like, I don't get mad at them about it. You know what I'm saying? I don't like hate them, because I go, of course, that's you. That's who you are. Right? So like, if there was somebody watching this and they're a person of a different race and culture than me, and they're feeling left out, or they're feeling maybe like put down or something, that's not the case. You know what I mean? That's not the case. And the example that I've tried to give many times is, let's say that I wanted to go visit another country. Let's say I've used this example many times, but I'll use it again here. Imagine I go visit Japan. I decide I want to live there. And I follow their rules. I get a Japanese passport. I'm speaking their language. I'm following their rules. I will never be seen as a Japanese person. Like, no one living there is ever going to say to me, yo, you're Japanese. No. I'd be an American white guy living there with a passport. I'd be maybe not considered an invader, but I'd be a visitor. I would never be one of them. Does that make sense? They would always look at, if I'd be on the train, they'd be looking at me going, oh, look at this fucking guy. You know, who is this? That would be for the rest of my life. That's what it is, right? And yeah, people have said I look Chinese. It's only because of my Fu Manchu. When my beard was red, it's not even a Fu Manchu because it's filled in. But if I didn't dye my beard black, back when it was, red, nobody ever said that. What did I read in here a second ago? Were you at the UFC White House? No, I was not. That would have been fun, though. You can't live there longer than 4 years. Interesting. Imagine if we adopted that. Imagine if you couldn't come here for more than 4 years. Wouldn't that be interesting? It says you can teach English, but you can't live there permanently. I've never been to Japan. But I was just trying to use that as an example, and I think that's a perfect. Thank you for bringing that up. I'm trying to read something. I would have sweared you related to Mark Britton. I don't know if you're making a joke, but Mark Britton is a guy named Chinaman, or has a character named Chinaman, who's a really good friend of mine that I've known for over 20 years. And I swear to God, he's actually not Chinese. He's actually Filipino and white. But we look a lot alike. We could be brothers. If we went out and said that we were brothers, anybody would believe it. So I've known Chinaman for since 2004? 2000. I remember, I found him through Dimebag. Dimebag was a big fan of his. He's a comedian. And I did his DVD. So if you ever saw the Chinaman DVD, I made that DVD for him. And whenever he comes to town, we hang out. But yeah, he's a Asian fellow whose character is called Chinaman. So anyway. But we do look a lot. How can you tell when someone is racist? This question is. When they're anyone. Everyone is racist. Kid walk. That's his other thing he does. Kid walk. This person says, oh, if their skin is white, they're racist. Yeah. I mean, the most racist people to me in the world are liberal white people. Those are the most racist people. Because they're the ones who... See, what I believe is that everyone has the same equal chance in the world. If you're alive and breathing and you got both your legs, like here in America, you have you have the same ability to do everything. It's white liberals that claim that black people or other people need help because they just can't do it on their own. They need special college privileges. They need special test scores. They need, to me, that's racism. Giving somebody a leg up because you think that they're not good enough, they have too much challenge. To me, that's what racism is. As a Republican, I'm like, no, everybody has the same shot. You get the same chance. What you do with it is up to you. If you don't gain knowledge, if you're out there committing crime, if you, instead of gaining knowledge, instead of building credit, if you're having kids out of wedlock, if you're smoking and drinking and doing drugs, and you fuck this up, not me, you did that. But the white liberals are going to say, well, they only did that because you forced them into it. You suppressed them. They're not smart enough to figure it out on their own. We have to help them. That's what racism is. Those are the white supremacists. Those are the people who think that they, those are the actual white supremacists. I'm somebody who believes that everybody has an equal shot. That they don't believe that. They don't think the same. So I'm just like, look, there's no reason why they go, yeah, but I had a different situation. And you'll go, everybody's got a different situation. I grew up in the same fucking communities. I grew up in poor communities, lived on the Indian reservation. I lived, everybody has the same shot. Well, yeah, but it's because of systematic racism that, you were able to get out of it and they can't. Okay. All right. Sure. It's also about choices. And, that's just how it is. Whoops, hold on. Trying to, I hate when every time you try to click on something, it just, it keeps moving. Money helps. I didn't have any money till a couple of years ago. I had no money. You know. He goes, it's the reverse Uno. Oh my God. My brother used to just throw a fit. I would save up all the draw fours till I had nothing but draw fours. And he'd get down to Uno and I'm like, draw four, draw four, draw four. Oh, and that's the point, right? That's what Monopoly and Uno and all of those games are teaching you as a little kid, is how to fucking navigate life. That's what those games are about. You know? And everybody keeps asking about the cats. I don't know. The mama kitty moved the kitties, and I haven't seen them in days, so I don't know where they are. So the thing about it is that when I was young, I learned very quickly that you had to go out and earn your own living if you wanted to eat. So I would mow grass and I would do odd jobs and things, but I didn't start having money until about 10 years ago, you know. And again, I make good decisions. Maybe, you know, maybe they're right. Maybe they're really, you know, what the white liberal wants you to believe in their roundabout way of thinking is that white people inherently just have higher IQ, which is why they seem to succeed and have money and do all these things, right? Because that's the message they're sending. That's what they're really saying. I'm arguing that everybody has the same shot in life, and they're arguing that that's not the case. So which one is the racist way of thinking, right? Because I used to say to the other Indians when I lived on the Indian reservation, I go, why don't you leave? You don't have to live here. Go get a job. Go start a business. Every single one of you is allowed to go to college for free. Go to business school. And they were such victims. Oh, you're so smart, white boy. It's easy for you. You're white. I go, what the fuck does that have to do with anything? Like, what does that have to do with anything? What does the color of my skin have to do with anything? You have the ability to go to college for free. I, on the other hand, have to pay for it. I mean, like, what? So, anyway. And maybe, you know, maybe the white liberal is correct. Maybe we're smarter. I don't know. I seem to be doing fucking great. Here I am, doing great. Started off in a poor neighborhood, overcame that. But you got to remember, there's millions and millions of other poor-ass, broke white people out there. Right? Where's their fucking genetics? Right? Why aren't they living in $1 million houses? I took my adversity and learned how to use it to my advantage. I have a ninth grade education. I don't have a high school diploma. I don't have a GED. I have no business school training, and yet my business does about $800,000 a year in total, you know, gross revenue. I just learned how to work with my hands and how to scale it and how to delegate. You know, that's all I do. Two-Face says, I'm Mexican-American. My mother came here legally. My father was born here. They worked hard enough, bought a house. I went to school, got a state job, bought a house, paid it off. Nobody held me back. I thought you could only do that if you were white. No, but this is my point, right? Anybody can do it if you just apply yourself. Doesn't matter who you are. I mean, so what if you're half white? I think if you're talking about the Indian benefits, you only have to be 1/4. Here's the thing. I am a legally registered Indian. as a 1/4 sou, which is, I didn't earn. I have never once ever taken an Indian grant, but I could if I wanted to. So hope that answers your question. I would never take anything from these people. Forget it. I'm going to do it on my own. Yeah, man, that's, and also age has a little bit to do with it. There's a couple other things that happened in my life. Like, for instance, I didn't have any kids. I did have one divorce in 2009, but I did it in a skillful way because I was a smart guy, and I left the divorce profitable at the time. Ultimately, I've told the story about how me and my ex-wife split up. But later on, she became quite profitable because she ended up selling the 2 properties that we had or whatever. But because while we were married for 10 years, I invested into property, we had leverage so that when the divorce happened, there was liquidity there. So I left the marriage. She paid me $25,000 to leave. Or on exit, rather. And then I sold some cars and assets. So I left the divorce with about $70,000. Most people leave a divorce and they're like living with their mom and sleeping on a couch. Within 1 year, I owned another house and had started another business and was married again. And I've been with Rachel ever since. Well, something that Asian community does, along with a lot of other communities, is they tithe within their family. So I worked with some Asian people, and they told me what they do in their family is they each put in 10% or whatever into a pool of money, and the next person that's available to borrow that money, or use it rather, would take that and use it to go to college or start a business or buy a home or whatever it was that they were going to do. And they also lived within multi-generational houses. So they might have, rather than moving out when they're 18, they would all live in a big house and share and stay within their family. So they'd have their grandparents, maybe even their great-grandparents, all living in one home together. And so they pooled their money, they pooled their resources, they made sure that their kids went to school. They also had the support system of their family to help take care of each other's kids and to keep their culture strong. This is very important. And so the modern American pushes their kids out at 18, the kid's out there on its own, isn't making enough money, they have children, they can't afford to take care of their kids, they don't have the support of their mom and their dad or their brothers or whatever. So it's like, I think that type family structure is one of the reasons that Asians and Indians in this country are doing so well. It's because of that family structure, that culture. That's how they live, and that's how they have succeeded so well in a place where they can thrive because they can make money and tithe that money. They're not taking their kids to daycare, right? They're not letting their kids be corrupted by the Western school system. And that's how they hold their culture together. And if more people, if we did that, probably have a much better country. Look, I've been on here for 30 minutes more than I prefer. I like to do this for an hour. Here's somebody, I'm going to put up your thing here. It says, your baby cry for everyone exposing Bob as an actor character. You're a cop from Albuquerque. What a fucking retard. I mean, what the fuck? Everybody's going to run to delete him at the same time. Yeah. I mean, there's people that are just fucking nuts. That are just, like, I don't know. And this is why we have moderators. This is why we block people, because it's not about me being afraid to disagree or debate people. It's that there's people that are just fucking retarded. You know what I mean? That are just posting their trolls, you know. I'll debate anybody anytime, bring it. That's not what I'm worried about. It's dumbasses, you know what I'm saying? And it takes them about 10 minutes to go make another account so that they can come back on. And they'll go make another account. So, all right, I think we've done this to death. Anyway, I've been broadcasting on both channels for a while, and I'm going to keep this up. And just like one of you said, I don't remember which one of you said it. We're going to probably set a date and end the Videobob Show channel and just move it over here to this channel, which is what I probably should have done all along. And I don't know, because the reason I had the second channel, like I said, was just to protect myself in case it got banned or deleted. It wouldn't affect my main channel. And also, I wanted to try to have multiple forms of income. I wanted to try to create a legitimate podcast out of it and make money from it. It's just not going to happen. Whereas I appreciate the couple of hundred of you that are watching live. It doesn't make any money, right? It's just me yip yapping. So that's the reason I'm on the two channels. I just want to make sure that everybody knows. But I think that everybody that's on the other channel is, like, how many people are watching on that channel? Let me go click on it and look at it. Let's see. I don't know if it tells me. I don't think it displays that information. See, it does. It just shows me how many viewers are watching. It doesn't show me how many viewers are on at that one time, or on each channel. Oh, it says 92 people. Yeah, so I have 237 people watching on both channels using my StreamYard app. So, do you like Steve Ferris? I don't know who that is. I don't know if I like them or not. This person's from North Richland Hills, Texas. I used to live there. Am I going to the World Cup? No. No. Let's see. I'm just trying to read some of these other comments. I agree with this statement. It says, if you were born here, you are not a Mexican American. You're an American. And this just proves the point that I was making before. If I say to you that I'm an American, or if you say somebody's American, they automatically think to themselves, a white person. Because everybody else gets put into a subcategory. They hyphenate themselves. Mexican American, Black American, Gay American, whatever it is, right? If you have a hyphen, what are you? But if you just call somebody an American, they automatically assume that you're a white American Christian male person, whatever. American woman, American man. What pops in your head? White Christian person, right? And that's why these people hyphenate themselves and call themselves Mexican Americans, African Americans, whatever blank hyphen Americans, right? Because that alone tells you what an American is. So when people want to make the argument to me, they go, well, we're a nation of immigrants. No, we're not. Because if we were, they wouldn't hyphenate their names, would they? America was created by white Christians, and that's who this country was made of. And up until the last 20 years ago, before we got about 40 million immigrants and all these other people came in, is when we saw the demographics of our world change. And the argument that I made earlier about if I were to go visit Japan or Thailand or some other place where I would really stick out, you know, I don't even know what other country I could go and become a citizen of their country. And if I did, I would be a, you know, expat, American, Japanese, whatever. You know, they won't even let you do that in these other countries. So what I'm saying is that when someone says to me that they're a Mexican American and they were born here, what that tells me is that everything I just said is correct. To be an American is to be a white Christian person. That's who made this country, and that's who was in this country. And if you want proof of that, just go back and watch any fucking television or movie from 25, 30 years ago, pre-2000. Right? Go watch any movie or TV show from pre-2000, before 9/11. Because after 9/11, you know, so many things happened after that. And then when COVID happened, so many things happened after that. And now what do we have? Now we have this multicultural, we have an extra 50 million fucking people in the country, you know. And with every new fake holiday like Juneteenth and every gay pride parade and every single fucking thing they try to sell us at Walmart and on TV and on these commercials, trying to convince us that we're somebody else. We're not. This is who we are. And that's my point. And people get all mad at me and they go, oh, that's racist. How is it racist? You fucking called yourself a Mexican American, not me. Because you know that you're an outsider. You have somebody who immigrated here and somebody who was born. You're not from here. You're born here. And that makes you an American. But at the end of the day, what are Americans? We know what they are. We know what they look like. Right? I didn't make the rules. So, and the majority of the people that I spend my time around with are Mexican people. I have people that work for me, people that are friends of mine. I go to Mexican restaurants. I mean, out of, 1/3 of the population here in Las Vegas are illegal. That's not counting just the Mexican population. But out of the 700,000 in Las Vegas proper, 200,000 of them are illegal immigrants. But that's everybody, not just people from Mexico. You have all kinds of countries that they're from. Says, hit the nail on the head. You want equity? Take no offense when labeled American, plain and simple. 50 million immigrants increase the economy growth. Well, think about this for a minute. Yeah, you have 50 million more people now buying. So you're right. It's increased the consumer growth. 50 million more people are renting apartments, buying cars, buying gas, buying food, buying clothing, right? How has that helped our country? What are we experiencing? Gas shortages, high prices of food, high cost of living, high cost of rents, more traffic. Everywhere you go, you got to wait in line. More people, right? More crime. How did that help? Think about this for a moment. If you deported all of those 50 million people, it would solve every single problem that we have in America. All the classrooms would not be overcrowded. All the ERs would not be overcrowded. The housing market would open up, and everybody would be able to afford a house and an apartment. The job market would open up. There'd be plenty of jobs for everybody, and they'd be paying higher wages. You could solve every single problem in America by deporting those 50 million people. Thank you for proving my point. So just because there's 50 million more people buying, that means 50 million more people are buying gasoline. Why the fuck is gas $5 a gallon? I'll give you a hint. Why are people paying $1,500 a month for a $500 a month apartment? Because 50 million fucking people are living there. Why is it when you go down to the hospital, you got to wait for 8 hours to get in? Because people without health care just use the ER as their form of health care. Why is your kid getting a shitty education? Well, maybe because instead of 25 students in the classroom, there's 50 students and they don't speak English. Right? Why is there so much traffic? Because there's 50 million fucking more people going to work. Why is it you can't get a job making $50 an hour and you're fighting to get $20 an hour? Because 50 million other people are doing your job for less money. So try to explain to me how it's better to have 50 million fucking new people in our country. How did that help? Right? Aside from just murdering our culture. Why is every fucking food and like I mentioned the other day we were gonna go get something to eat and I go, other than like cheeseburgers, right? There's nothing here that's not ethnic. Every goddamn restaurant here is ethnic. Indian restaurant, Thai restaurant, Mexican restaurant. There's a Peru chicken. There's a fucking Havana Express Cuban place. Where do I go to get just like fried chicken, meatloaf, potatoes, white people food? The shit we used to eat before ethnic food took over everything. You walk down the aisle of Trader Joe's and every other food is an ethnic food. What the fuck did white people eat up until 20 years ago, right? We had some fried chicken, meatloaf, Salisbury steak. I don't know. Like, what I mean? It's like, what do we eat? We had this Italian invasion throughout the 80s, when we were eating spaghetti and Olive Garden and this kind of thing, pizza, right? Which again is basically white people, Italians, But the thing is that then we got Taco Bell, and out of Taco Bell came all this other Mexican food. So now you go in any city, and I'm not talking about Mexican food like Taco Bell. I'm talking about like Mexican restaurants run by Mexicans, and the fucking place is in Spanish, and you might as well be in Monterey. And so, like, here in Vegas, like, every other restaurant is some ethnic shit. It's Thai. It's Korean. It's Cuban. It's Mexican. It's fucking Indian. I see restaurants here, Ethiopian. What the fuck is Ethiopian? When they eat flies off a log? The fuck do they eat in Ethiopia? So it's like, you know what I mean? So our culture has just been murdered. And what I'm saying is, if you take a look at the people in Belfast who got together, if the Americans got up off their ass and spent just 2 to 4 hours, every American owns a whole bunch of Second Amendment things. If all the Americans just took 4 hours out of their day and all went into the streets, you could clean this entire country out in one day. Just do what you do best. Do what you did to the Indians. Do what you did to the Indians in India, the Pakistanis. Do what you did in Australia. Do what you did in Canada. Do what you did here in America. Just do what you do, right? And the fucking place would be clean as a whistle. We'd all be eating meatloaf again. Just saying. I'm just saying. There's nothing that scares the establishment more than Americans getting up off their ass and putting down their fucking Xbox remote and getting up and doing some shit. Oh, look at this guy. Giving me cat food. Well, thank you, Skips. I just bought a $47 case of cat food yesterday. Fuck it. I've been giving him the wet food. I'm like, why am I giving him the wet food? I'm like, they could eat the dry food for less money. These cats are spoiled rotten. I get them the Friskies. That's very kind of you. Thank you. anyway, this is true. 100 years ago, we ate clean food, raw food. I mean, if you look at most of the Mexican food, none of it is good for you. I mean, I've made this observation before that most of the Mexican community, especially the women, are all really obese. Every one of them look like a fucking baked potato walking around. They all have the exact shape and color of a potato. They just walk around. They look like now that I've said it, you're going to go, here comes a pack of potatoes. They're all big, fat, potato-shaped people because they're eating fried chips, masa, corn, like all of that food, which is bastardized versions of Mexican food. Horrible, horrible shit. Not healthy. And I eat it. I eat it too. But they literally look like potatoes. So, oh yeah, this is 100% all of our government, and like, this is all about, why did the thing about every single culture that comes into our country is they immediately do everything they can to get their people onto the boards of our government. And then they only advance their people. And this is what I was saying earlier an hour ago. I was like, the word racism and bigotry is always applied to white people. And I go, well, then what are these other people doing? So you get a Filipino person that comes in, they get on our council, and then they do things for their people. How come they're not considered supremacists, bigots, and racists? They're just trying to help their people, right? But as soon as, but any time an American does that, they're called a racist and a bigot. Somebody's at my gate. Let me see. God damn it. It's not working. It never works. What is this? Somebody open the gate. Oh, it's a delivery. Let me see. Hold on. All right. He left something on the porch. I got a live view of the porch, ladies and gentlemen. Live view of Amazon. At the gate. There he is again. This guy actually opened the gate instead of leaving it outside. And see, I've made it part of my delivery instructions that the gate code is there so the delivery driver, when they're delivering, can see the instructions. Now, let me see if you notice anything about this delivery driver. Let's see. Here he is. Now he's reading the label, punching in the code. The gate opens, and then he brought it all the way to my door. Very pale delivery driver. He should put on some sunscreen. Now, the delivery driver that came the other day, who was, let's say, immune to the sun. You want to guess what he did with the packages? If you're going to say that he just left them laying on the fucking sidewalk, you would be correct, sir. And I had to have Rachel go get him. Let me scroll back a couple of days. Let me see here. I was sitting there with this guy. So this guy makes no attempt whatsoever, right? He makes no attempt to ring the bell, punch in the code, nothing. No attempt. He never even thinks about going to the doorbell or the thing. The delivery instructions say, if the box will not fit in the receptacle box. Please use the code WGate. He makes zero attempt. He doesn't even think of the thought never occurred to this guy's fucking mind. He didn't even bother bringing the truck into the driveway. He left the truck out on the street, right? Huge difference, right? And it's like, this is in every part of our life. So when you go to In-N-Out, who do they hire, and how does your burger turn out? Just saying. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? All right. I've been on here for fucking 2 hours. I gotta go. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's gonna happen to the kitties. I haven't seen the kittens in a couple of days. I assume that when they get old enough to start running around, they'll start popping their heads up and eating. I've ordered, matter of fact, you know what that might be? Hold on. What could have been the delivery? Let me check. Yep, it is. It is my cat trap. I ordered a cat trap. And here it is. It's basically a coon trap or whatever you want to call it, but yep, here it is. Well, just trust me. I'll put it together later. So I ordered a cat trap, and I'm going to start catching the cats. So that's the plan. I'll put the, oh, he had a kitten eaten by a falcon. Oh, that's terrible. I know that there's a hoot owl around here somewhere because I hear him hooting up in the trees, which is strange that there's a desert owl. But I have been concerned if that owl found those cats, they'd eat them. Let's see what's in the other box. 2 boxes. We'll do an unboxing. Let's have a look. This is all stuff ordered for the bus. These are just a bunch of USB cables. I get a lot of shit from Amazon. Almost every day I get a package from them. And it's never the same drivers. Almost ever. Imagine the turnover rate. That they don't have routes apparently. You know, like a UPS guy. Oh, okay, I know. This is just a vent hose that I ordered. So nothing much to get excited about. All right. Yeah, the bus is coming along really well. It's been really hard for me lately to do the daily videos because, I guess I should film myself working. It would just be a lot of editing, but I'm putting in electrical outlets hanging lights. I don't know if you guys would really want to watch this stuff. Yeah, we do have the Rivian Amazon trucks. That's true. But you know what I mean? It's like, I'm like, who would watch this, you know? And in order to make it interesting, I'd have to do a lot of shooting and editing and time lapse. And like, I don't know. Nobody's going to watch me put up a fucking light fixture. You know what I mean? And also, like, I'm in a position where I can't really talk. Last night I was putting in an electrical outlet in one of the bunks. You know, I'm like down on the floor. There was no way I could have filmed it. You know, I'm just doing really boring stuff like that. I put in like 20 different outlets. And then also it's hot and sunny and I'm wearing gloves and it's just difficult. You know, I don't have somebody there to film me doing it. And some of it I think would be interesting. Like we put in that big drawer yesterday, me and Sergio, into the belly of the bus. And I wanted to make sure it was going to fit correct before I ordered more of them. Because, see, I was going to order those anyway. And I went down to the place that sells them. And they said, well, we have a scratch and dent one. We'll sell you for half price, for $650. I go, I'll take it. And it's great. So we installed it. And I'm like, because they're about $1,000 each. Something like that. And so I ordered 2 more. So I'd say I probably put about $5,000 into the bus just since I've had it here. And I just got back some quotes from some concrete companies. I want to concrete that entire area where the bus is parked. So I got a quote. Tell me what y'all think, if any of you have any expertise in concrete. The quote was for a 30-foot by 80-foot by 6-inch thick slab with some sewer running it for $22,000. Right? So 2,400 square feet. So you're talking 6-inch thick concrete slab, which is 4,000 psi, reinforced with rebar, 20 linear feet of 3-inch underground sewer line installation. Includes all required materials, labor, and installation. $22,500. Okay. Then the other thing we're going to do is put up a retaining wall all around the entire perimeter of the pool berm, you know, where the trees used to be. It says approximately 100 linear feet of retaining block wall. Includes concrete footing foundation. Wall will be refilled with concrete mix. Installation of approximately 12 metal or wood posts. Posts spaced approximately 8 feet apart. Footings included for posts. Ready for panel installation. Includes all materials and labor, $7,000. So the 2 projects together, $29,500. And, you know, I'm like, yeah. Okay. I was told that it was going to be between 20 and 30,000 to concrete slab that area. That's a big area. Because I said, would we do it 4 inches? He goes, dude, if you're going to park a 40,000-pound bus on it, you probably should do 6-inch, you know? And I wanted to eventually put a steel building there. And the steel building itself cost about $30,000. And it has to be done onto the concrete. Can't do it onto this wood or asphalt. Because I thought about just having it asphalted, like the rest of my property. So $22,500 seems like a good price, everybody says. So, I mean, that is a lot of concrete. I mean, so, you know, I've tried doing that route before and it never ever works out. You know, because the part that's missing is the guy that's in charge. Yes, he's going to have the same Home Depot guys doing the shit labor, but you need the one smart guy to coordinate everything and make it work. And when you try to go the Home Depot route, what happens is you end up with a job that doesn't get done and you end up spending the money twice. So, like, you know, But I want to get some other quotes. Because this guy, he's outsourcing everything. He's calling in the concrete truck. He's outsourcing that. All he's doing is coordinating everything. You know, I think I would rather just, you know, even if it cost a little bit more, because they're going to case me out and come back and rob me. No, they're not. Anybody who cases this place out is going to go, this guy has cameras everywhere, and, well, I'm not going to say. I'm just going to say that they would probably think better of it. Go rob a bank. They won't shoot you back. They'll give you the money, and you can leave, and they won't try to shoot you back. Just go rob a bank. That's where the money is. If anybody wanted to case me out to come steal from me, I'd just go down to Chase and rob the bank. They'll let you take the money. You know, they're not going to hunt you down and find you and kill you. So, anyway, here's a trick I learned a long time ago. When you hire a contractor and you don't really trust them a lot and you give them a deposit, put a magnetic air tag on their truck and take a picture of their ID. You'd be surprised how well that works when you know where they live and where they go. And you can see where all their supplies are. You can see what stores they go to. It's amazing how well it works. Oh, that's where you get the shit. Oh, interesting. Oh, that's the bar you go to afterwards. Oh, that's where your kids go to school. Works really well. What vehicle am I towing behind? I don't know if I'm going to tow any vehicle behind the bus. But I do have a utility trailer that would hold a motorcycle, but I also have a hydraulic motorcycle lift. And so I'm thinking about mounting it onto the back of the bus. What I want to use the bus for is combination of vacation band. I've tried to explain it like this. People will buy, they'll go spend $100,000 on a motorhome, and then they go to the Grand Canyon and they go camping, they go on so that's what I'm going to do, except I'll have the ability to take a dozen people with me if I want. So the idea is that we'll try to book gigs that are fun, like festivals, biker rallies, and things. And, no, it doesn't make financial sense. I'm not going to make a lot of money or any money. I'll lose money, right? Let's say the band gets a gig and we're getting paid $1,000 or $1,500 to play a show. And then it's going to cost me $2,000 worth of gas, or whatever. The thing is it's fun. It's like people RV for fun, right? So imagine we all maybe we go to Sturgis. So I'm going to put that hydraulic motorcycle lift on the back, take my Harley with me, and the whole gang, and we go, we go on an excursion. We go for fun. Maybe we go play in Utah or Phoenix or in LA. We'll go play the Whiskey A Go-Go, right? We're not going to make any money doing it. We'll break even at best or maybe even lose money. But then we'll have a weekend in L.A. We'll go to Universal Studios or Disney or some shit. It'll be fun. I have a 45-foot tour bus with a bathroom, little kitchen on it. But we're not going to be like cooking meals in there. We're going to stop at fucking In-N-Out and everybody will go get a cheeseburger. We're going to be eating out like I normally do. I have an entire chef's kitchen here and I still don't cook. You know what I mean? Like if I want to be cheap about things, I can just have a microwave sandwich or something. But I'm just saying, you pull over and you eat. You don't need a kitchen. These people with the RVs that, you're taking up 6 square feet of your space with a fucking kitchen that nobody ever uses. You might use the microwave and the fridge at best, right? You don't need a full bathroom. It's like you're not taking a shower in there every day. It's like I'm not going to be gone that long. So it's like you don't need to have all that. My other RV, if one of you guys is interested in my other tour bus, my Prevost that's in Dallas, the 1990, it has a full bathroom, a full kitchen, a full bathroom, a full living room. It's got two 60-inch TVs. You know, it's got everything in it. You could live in it permanently if you wanted to. And I've lived in it for weeks at a time. Before we built the apartment, I just lived in the bus when I was there. It was wonderful. You know, it's great. But so people keep asking me what I'm doing with the bus. It's just a fucking RV, man. I'm gonna have fun with it. That's all. Except it's a tour bus. So you know, that's what I'm gonna do with it. It says get your RV covered. Don't tear up your concrete. I don't understand what that means. I'm going to build a concrete slab to park it on, and then once you have a slab, you can build a warehouse. I'm going to put a 30 by 80 warehouse there and park it inside. And I was going to paint the entire building white and put a swamp cooler in it or something, and it'll keep it out of the sun and cool. And I could park other cars and things in there. It'll be great. And I enjoy driving it. I enjoy going on trips. I love hanging out in there. I mean, I've had it for like a week, and I love hanging out in there. I've been watching movies in there while I'm working, you know. I watched Joe Dirt. I watched Office Space. I watched Full Metal Jacket. Just movies that I had on my library. And while I'm wiring, you know, I'm in there wiring lights and cleaning, you know, making beds. Like I could have made a video, but like I had to make all the beds. All these, they were just a bunch of mattresses, and they were all dirty. I pulled this might have been good video. I pulled all the mattresses out, and I swear to God, every one of them had socks, like random socks here and there, and you know, pants, under clothes, pieces of paper, just change, you know, like things that fall out of your pockets over the years. And so I vacuumed everything, cleaned everything. And then I bought custom fitted fitted sheets because the mattresses are like 30 inches by 80 inches, or whatever they are, 75 inches. So I ordered custom bedding, and I had to make all the beds. So I had to pull the things out, and it takes time. You know, like what am I, a fucking maid? So it takes, you know, 15, 20 minutes per bed to make the bed, put in the sheets. You know, I went and got new pillows, put them in the pillowcases. No, there's no bugs in the bus. But, you know, comforters. And so I spent about, I don't know, $50, pretty cheap sheets, you know. But you got to do that times 10. And then I went into each bunk and just literally laid in each bunk and scraped out all the goddamn stickers, like, because there was just 20 years of these fucking Velcro 3M hooks and stickers and hangers, and just peeled them all off. And so some of the things that I've ordered that I'll be installing is I bought these little net pouches. It's like a net with a frame around it that you put in. You can put your shoes or put stuff in. So I'm going to put those nets in each one. I also bought these articulated phone holders. I'm going to put those in each one. And then, like, I was just ordering a bunch of these cords. So these are, I just thought this would be good to have, smart to have around. So these are multi-head. Oh, these are the USB ones, so I didn't get the other ones yet. So what I ordered was a bunch of cords that have a USB, a lightning, a micro, you know, it had every kind of connector on it. And I figured I would just pepper those around in the bunk so that you're better off putting those in instead, because people are like, hey, does anybody have a cord? I forgot my cord. Most people don't have their shit together. They don't know how to travel. And I know how to travel. I travel and I have everything I need, you know. And then there is definitely some lighting I need to do in there, like all the mood lighting needs to be done. And like I said, just cleaning, updating. I ripped out all of the old video system because none of it was working anymore, and it just made it look dated in there. Every bunk had a little flip-down TV like you'd have in an old Escalade, but it only had like a 4-inch screen on it, and it picked up television channels. I'm like, what the fuck are you going to do with that? Nobody's going to use that. You know, 25 years ago that was cool, but it's not as cool as the phone. So so I ripped each of those out, but in order to get it out, you had to take the mattress above it out, take the screws out and remove the cables and everything. So anyway, took all that stuff out, and then I'm just going to put a phone holder there. So you can lay in your bunk and put your phone. But if you're in the bunk, you're going to sleep. Otherwise, if you want to watch TV, you would be watching it in one of the two lounges. You got the lounge in the back and the salon in the front, both with Apple TVs, But if you really, really want to go have privacy and lay in your bunk, you can do that. But like I said, we're not going on tour. It's only going to be for like a day. So, anyway. Yeah, I haven't toured internationally, but I did, when I toured back when I was a tour bus driver, this was in 2006. So people didn't have, the iPhone wasn't even out yet. So you didn't have mobile internet. So yeah, you had to watch, if you had a TV in your bunk, that was cool. You didn't have this yet. We were still using flip phones. So, what are you touring? What band are you in, or will you say? What are you doing that you're touring? What bus are you in? Tell me about what you're doing. Yeah, I mean, when I was a tour bus driver, the driver doesn't sleep on the bus. I would drop off the bus at the venue. I would take a cab to the hotel where I would check in, and you're doing a Sprinter van. Okay. That's not quite like a bus, but that's a passenger Sprinter. Rock band with strings. So you're a rock band with violins? And is that what you're saying? But so yeah, I would go to the hotel, and then I would wake up like 5, 6 o'clock, take a cab back to the venue, and then sometimes I would have to do the laundry. So I'd have to gather up everybody's dirty laundry and go take another cab to a laundromat and sit there at the laundromat. And that sucked. So I came up with the idea. I said, guys, why don't you add to the rider socks and underwear? Like, they're bringing us all this deli trays and Twizzlers and shit. Like, put on there to get a pack of tube socks and underwear. Get like Hanes black medium underwear, 6-pack of those, and black tube socks. That's what you guys wear. And black wife beaters, right? They sell them at every Walmart. And they're like, this is fucking genius, Bob. I was like, that way I won't have to do the laundry. Just take them off and throw them in the trash after the show when you change clothes. Change out of your stage clothes into your bus clothes. And like, you can wear the same jeans for weeks. You don't have to wash them, right? And just throw the shirt in the trash. Just get this is a concert shirt. But I'm like, the Hanes work shirts, they're like, back then they were $3, just throw it in the fucking trash. Throw it into the audience. Let the fans have it. They'll love it. Because they're wearing their stage clothes. And anyway, so that was one of the innovations I came up with on the Hell Yeah Tour. Socks and underwear on the rider. Still very proud of that. But, my other tour bus, my Prevo, my Angola, has a small washer-dryer unit in it. Splendide Combo, which is a washer and a dryer. It uses very little power and very little water. And I'm like, why they don't put these on tour buses, I don't know. They don't take up that much room. I mean, I could put it down in the bay. And I looked at that. I was like, I could mount one of those. I might be able to put one of those washers down in the bay. I don't know if you could do it on an XL2. You could do it on an on a X3 or an H345. They have taller bays. But I thought about taking out one set of bunks and making that into a washing machine storage area. But I'd have to add a much bigger water tank. But because most of the time you don't have 12 people on the fucking bus, unless it's a crew bus, But even if it was a crew bus, it's like you could still fit a lot of people on there. And the ability to be able to wash the clothes while you're going down the road, that's, the thing doesn't make a lot of noise. Bob, you have a pile of clothes? I do have. You talking about behind me? That's my robe. Touring with a bunch of OD 20-something girls is torture, not in a good way. I can imagine. That would be... I have a lot of clothes in my closet. But the thing is, I typically wear the same shit, you know. I wear the same pair of jeans for 3 or 4 days. I'll wear the same pair of jeans for like a week. Unless they're dirty. If I'm getting them real dirty and dusty. I do this thing where I just take a warm, wet rag and wipe off my jeans when they get a little dusty. My other Prevo, I'm going to start it at $60,000. We put a lot of time and money and effort into it. So, because it's got new tires, new air conditioners, a bunch of new hoses and belts. It's been completely gone through. We just did a bunch of work to it. I just put in all new batteries in it, all lithium ion, 600 amp batteries. It's got enough power in it to run for fucking weeks. Just like, I went a little overkill on the batteries. I kind of wish I had enough now, but I'll sell it for 60. You know, yes, I paid less than that for it, but we've been working on it for 6 months. So, that's what I want for it. So it's in Dallas, Texas, and it's basically about ready now. I'm going to fly down there and work on it and put a new bed in the back and some other things. The 2020, during COVID, I sold that bus for $100,000, and the guy spent another $50,000 fixing it up. So, you know, I know the prices have dropped dramatically, but you're not going to buy an RV that's as cool as that for 60 grand. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, look, I've been on here. I wanted to get off an hour ago when I said I was going to get off. I want to go get some lunch or dinner, I guess. Maybe I'll try that titty bar I was talking about earlier with the $10 steaks. Yeah, I found this local titty bar called Mink's. They do a $10 ribeye. So I might go check that out. All right. Hope you guys had fun. Anyway, let me turn this the comment stage off and whatnot, this, that, and the other, this kind of thing. You know what I'm saying?
Bob, you're an idiot.
Yes. People love it when I play that. I don't know why. All right, I'll catch you guys later. I still have to shoot today's daily video. What the fuck?